Welcome to Magically Gluten-Free. I'm Paris, and today we have a very special guest. My stepson, Caden.
Hey guys.
And Caden, what are we making today?
We're making churros.
Woo! All right. So today you're going to need a saucepan, same one that we made churro toffee in. So we will put that on the stove. We are also going to need, what is this?
A stick of butter.
We need 6 tablespoons of butter. So there's just a little bit cut off. We need
3 eggs.
We need a tablespoon or so of vanilla extract or a vanilla bean. We need 1 cup of gluten-free flour. I like to use Bobs Redmill. We need, what is this?
We need salt.
We need some salt. About a teaspoon. We have a tablespoon of cinnamon. We have a 1/4 cup of milk and a 1/4 cup of water. And then we are going to need a piping tip. This is a Teco 824 piping tip. It is curved on the top and it has ridges in it. We will need a piping bag. We have 2 just in case we both want to pipe some churros out. We have a smaller tip. This one is a Wilton 22. All right, so we're gonna start out with our butter, water, milk, and salt. And then we're gonna add in our flour in a couple of minutes. So first thing, I need you to put the butter in this pot. Yep, all of it. All right, now pour the water in here. All right, and then we're gonna pour this milk in there. All right, so now we're gonna take all of this and we're just gonna heat it up on medium heat until everything starts bubbling. So your butter is melted and everything. All right, so we have our butter melting in the mixture right now. All right, so our butter is melted. Everything is coming together. We're gonna add our salt in. And as soon as this starts bubbling, we are going to add in our flour. And when we add in the flour, we want to pre-gelatinize all of the starches in that flour. And that is a very key point in this recipe. So I've turned my heat up just so that this goes faster. Yep. So the method that we're making is actually the same way that you would make an eclair or a cream puff. We are making a patasciutto. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So we cook this dough twice. This is the first cook, and then the second one's going to be in the oil when we fry it. I think Magnolia wants to teach the video. She has a lot of baking tips. All right, so it's getting foamy. That means that it's about to start bubbling. The steam's coming off. All right, so do you want to pour this in? All right, so we have our cup of flour going in there. There's that bubble. We're just gonna stir it. You want either a wooden spoon or a spatula like this. And it's gonna kind of look like oatmeal in here. Just keep mixing it until all of the lumps of flour go away. It's going to form a film on the bottom of the pan. It's not going to stick to the bottom of the pan. That is the starch gelatinizing in this mixture. That is a very key point of pâte à choux, is it should not stick to the bottom of your pan. I'm turning mine off now. We're also kind of just pre-cooking that starch. So at this point, we are going to stick it into our mixer. You can also leave it in this pot, let your pot cool down just a smidge, and then you can add in the rest of your ingredients with a handheld mixer. All right, so we have no more lumps in here. There's no lumps. Do you see any lumps?
Nope.
All right, so we are good. We're ready to go into the mixer. All right, so we have our pâte à choux dough in the mixer, fitted with a paddle attachment. And we're just going to turn it on low for a couple of minutes. We want the mixture and some of the steam to come off of it because we do not want to cook our eggs when we add it. The recipe says 3-ish eggs because it all depends on the consistency and how much water is evaporated out of the dough. Every dough is different. So you're going to be looking for a specific consistency, not necessarily an exact amount of eggs. All right, so while our mixture is cooling down, we're going to get our piping bags ready for churros. So we're going to cut off the tip of it. We're going to put our little one in here so that he can handle it. This is a smaller piping bag. You can always do a slightly bigger one. And this one's going to be a smaller tip, so it's going to be a much smaller churro. And so we fit our piping bag. That's ready. This one is a reusable bag. You don't have to get one this big. Something in between the other two sizes fits. This one I can just wash and put in the dishwasher and let it dry out. So I have my tip in here. And then we have our sheet tray ready. We're gonna pipe our churros onto this, and then we're gonna freeze them. So when we freeze them, we can get them a little bit more straight when they come into the fryer and out of the fryer, and they'll have a more defined ridges on them when you do that. All right, so our dough, can you feel the outside of this? Does it feel like?
Warm.
It's warm, but it's not hot, right? Yeah. Okay, so now we can start adding our eggs. So crack your egg and put it in there. All right, so we're gonna add 1 egg at a time. You can go throw that away if you would like. Come on over here and take a look inside. We're just letting it hydrate. It's gonna look kind of messy, a little bit like oatmeal, sticky oatmeal. While we wait, let's wait for that egg real quick until it comes completely together. All right, so see how that dough is now together? You can't really see the egg. Let's crack that next egg and put it in there. So take a look at this dough. It's a little dry, so we're gonna add a little bit more egg to it. You're just gonna wait until this comes together. You want your dough to be thicker than what your like cream puff dough would be because you want it to be stiff on the inside as well when it fries. So we're gonna scrape down the bowl and add in our vanilla extract. Keaton, would you do the honor of pouring in? Good job. All right. Yep. We'll scrape down one more time. Make sure all the dough gets incorporated with the egg. Great. You could also make French crullers with this dough. You would use the same piping tip. You would just pipe them onto parchment and fry them and then glaze them. But you would want the same pretty much consistency as this as well. Because National Donut Day, y'all.
It is?
Yep, that's what today is. All right, so we're gonna go put this into our piping bags and we are going to start piping. Whoopee! So you can see it's very thick dough. I'm gonna just put it into Caden's piping bag. All right, squeeze it down, get it ready. Mine going into my piping bag. So the most important part about this step, you do not have to do this step, by the way. If you want flat ones, then I would recommend this step. Otherwise, you can pipe them directly into your oil. I will save some batter and show you how to do that. So we can only pipe our churros as long as our pot is wide. This is our frying pot. We can have a churro pretty much this long. If you have a smaller pot, it's gonna have to be smaller. So let's do it a little bit smaller than this. So it's not gonna be quite from end to end. Let's do a half of it. So I'll do one. And then if it doesn't come off directly, we can either cut it or cut it with our scissors. So we're going to pipe. So I think that's gonna be as long as it needs to be. If you have a deep fryer, you can do a longer one. If you don't,
It's not a big deal.
we're not gonna pipe with yours. I'll let you pipe with mine. And we'll just put all of the rest of the dough in here, okay? All right, so if you have a kiddo helping you, we are going to cut your dough and have the rest of it up here so then they can push with just one hand out the piping bag. All right. Good job.
Thank you.
Keep pushing.
That one's gonna be skinny.
It is.
It's gonna be really skinny.
It is. Good job. That one's much better.
That's my first time making churros, so.
Yep. All good. Good job. All right, so we're going to take these piped churros, put them in the freezer for about 30 minutes until they are nice and chilled and kind of firm to the touch. All right, so while our churros are in the freezer, we've added a little bit of oil to our pot, about 1.5 to 2 inches. We're frying in corn oil today because that was the cheapest option that did not have soybean oil in it. We have our container with our cup of sugar and our cinnamon that we can add to it. We have our thermometer to figure out how hot our oil is. We have tongs to get the churros off. And we have a grated rack to put our churros onto to just get a little bit of extra oil off before we toss them in the cinnamon and sugar. We're looking for 350 degree oil to fry in.
What did Snow White say when her photos were ready?
What?
Someday my prince will come.
That's a good one. I liked it.
What is the cow's favorite princess?
What?
Mulan.
All right, so we're just waiting for our oil to heat up. While we wait for our other churros in the freezer to stiffen up, we will pipe the fresh dough into the oil and show you how to do that one in the meantime. All right, so our oil is at 350 degrees. I'm showing you a quicker version than doing the frozen sticks that we had piped out. This is just dough that we have left over in the piping bag with the same tip. We're just gonna pipe into here, and you need a pair of scissors or a knife to cut it off because it won't cut off cleanly, and then a pair of tongs or a slotted spoon for when you pipe into the oil. All right. So you're just going to evenly press the dough out. And then once it has gotten to your desired length, you chop it. And then for the next couple of seconds, you can try and get it a little bit straighter. This one is not gonna be much straighter than it is. And we're just gonna let that fry until it's golden brown on both sides. So about 2 to 3 minutes each side. And you can pre-make your churro dough and put it in your piping bag, cover the tip up, and leave it in your refrigerator. If you're going to have people over later and you want churros then, you can pre-make your dough up to about 24 hours. And you can just leave it in the refrigerator, covered. And then you can pipe it straight into here. Or you can have them pre-piped out in the freezer.
How many churros can you have in the bowl at a time?
As many as it will fit. You just kind of gotta move them around so that they don't get stuck to each other.
Yeah.
Or overlapping. Alright, so I flipped all of my churros over. They have the nice ridges on them. And once they get a little bit darker on both sides, we're gonna put them on here and then we're gonna toss them in sugar. Just tossing it everywhere.
They doing it right, Max?
There you go. We got some churros.
Yep. You got some churros. Next one needs to be flipped over.
Yum. All right, and then you're gonna want to eat these pretty warm. So delicious.
I would say it look delicious.
They definitely look delicious. All right, so we have our frozen sticks. We're just gonna plop them in there. It's gonna pop a little bit because they are frozen. You don't want them to stick together. You gotta separate them. Make them go on their other side.
The pop noises sound kind of funny.
Yeah. Because the oil pops when the temperature difference is really high. These are frozen, going into a really hot 350-degree pot of oil. All right, so these are the color that we're looking for. They look nice and done. Both sides, they're nice and straight from being in the freezer. All right, so we're gonna put them over here on the rack really quick to cool down before we toss them in the sugar. All right. Now all you gotta do is roll them.
These are good churros.
Very good. Do you feel like you're at Disneyland?
Yeah.
Me too. You can enjoy these too in your own kitchen if you just follow these easy steps.
But
Keep going.
And we'll post some of these